Our last poet, Tiara is inspired by queer ancestor Gary Fisher and Rabi Alameddin. They would love to go on a long drive up the coast together and soak in their thoughts. They love looking at all the zines Vero shared during workshop and the journals and photographs of their joy and messiness in the art journals. Give it up for our last poet, y'all.
Shout out to y'all for being such good listeners, and shout out to y'all for being literally magic. I'm so grateful for all of you. I wanted to keep Gary Fisher in this space with us. In his journals, he talks about blurring playfulness, the innocence of fantasy with writing, and he wonders if these things can coexist. So I am going to be sharing a story in 3 parts with y'all tonight. Kind of trying to channel this blurring between playful fantasy and writing. Part 1, A Lie for a Lie. I will tell you this story in exchange for your reception of my confession, the widow says to the child. We both think the other holds the keys. She says she will tell me about the salt if I tell her about the lines on her palm. Desperation, dishonesty, call it what you will. This is what negotiation looks like between a disobedient wife and a delusional child. Once the husbands died, I started to hear bits and pieces about life in the mangrove forests. She's a poet, an animator, a rambler. I stumbled constantly chasing after the chatter of her teeth. She veils herself and sings at the top of her lungs from the veranda, takes us up the railroad tracks and into the mountains. She hollers at the fisherman, slings his case of jute over her shoulder. She is robbed by a man who says he's a doctor, his eyes parched and dwelling like a banker. She plucks out the fish bones composting in mangrove roots, feeds them to her windowsill crows. This kind of forest is a jungle sinking into a steadily rising ocean. More debt collection than romance, she cackles. By the time I start recording her songs, her hands are wrinkled and restless, her nose witch-warded. She spends her last years weaving dead men's hair in and out of the faded fibers on her mattress. Pink, green, gray, a prayer, yellow, brown, red, a curse. Over and over. Remember that pious men never declined. Let me ask you a riddle. What does the widow say to the child who has chosen to end the bloodline? The widow scoffs and can hardly contain her smile. She runs her tongue through the vast gaps in her teeth. From the minute you were born, she responds, you were just a set of closing elevator doors. Part 2, A Generous Departure, after Rabi Alameddin. The widow's last song is about the length of a lifespan. With 2 front teeth left, she gnaws on 4 raw garlic cloves every morning, licking quince jam off her fingers. The widow and the child reach the end of their negotiation, a mutual transgression, a kindness, a timely, equal, and opposite crossing of realms. The child offers a prayer, but the widow is not interested in advice, only in confession. She widens her rivered mouth, springing along a cosmos. What do you have in common with them? She asks. Well, the child says, the way we love. Nothing could have been less relevant to the widow. Well, the child hesitates. The things we hold sacred, by which the child meant unrelenting visions of love, delusional commitments to building otherwise, dotting Pacific cliffs, alien propagandists who, despite these visions of love, stay losing their glasses, lying, sniffing, fucking, tearing, crashing cars, all those things that can twist a lineage. To choose to be who we are is a complete disinheritance, the child says. but offers me and extends to you the shadowy gift of redemption. Decades later, we are only left with widows, and who is there to write on the histories of widows, to hold their secrets? Can you imagine all the secrets held by all the widows of the world, contained by a generous departure? Part 3, Giovanni's stepson. It is a hot, beaming day, and I am 25 and vigorous. I sit shirtless in the sun with my shirtless friends and survey their sticky chest hair, their legs sprawled like sea cliffs. We sweat onto each other when no one's looking, limbs crossed like sardines in a seagull's belly, like retrieval, like fingers in succession. I take big gulps and take the Bart back alone, rest my sternum against the coolness of a telephone pole. I wave down a passing car, ask for a lighter, smoke through my long mustache, heart strolling, fall into a humid bed. A blood-sucking butterfly flutters onto my thigh, and for tonight, I am long-legged with drink to spare. Thanks y'all so much for listening, and I have one last haiku for y'all. Empanadas taste like giggling in the wind, so sweet to hold y'all close.